Welcome back, Benchwarmers. Football is around the corner, and I'm so dang excited.
Preseason is underway, and while the first real game isn't until September 4th, we thought we'd start talking about it.
Yeah, I literally couldn't wait any longer to get back into the pigskin. So we're going to have like a little mini-series here where we predict how each division will unfold.
Let's get to it. I'm Corey. Let's ride.
I'm Brendan, Chiefs Kingdom, and this is RV from the Bench. Before we get started, if you're not already, don't forget to subscribe to the channel and hit that notification bell so you never miss any one of the new episodes.
Also, if you could please do us the favor, if you like what you see here, please don't forget to smash that like button.
Smash it for us. Come on, it's free. It's free for you. It's free for us. Helps out the channel a lot more than you probably think.
Hell yeah.
All right, Corey. Well, we're here to wrap it up. Like Dave Chappelle used to say, wrap it up.
We've made it through 3 of the 4 divisions on both sides, and here we are to wrap it up with, as you like to say, the best coast last, West Coast.
The West Coast, maybe. That's right. Not necessarily. Well, I mean, yeah, honestly, some of the best teams are in these divisions. But yeah, I'm excited to not excited to wrap it up, but the more we wrap it up, the closer it is to football season. So excited for that, I guess you could say. If you're new here, if you haven't seen any of these, go check out all the other ones. But basically what we're doing is we're going through the division and trying to pick the exact order of how we think it's going to play out the rest of this season. We've done every single thing else, north, south, and East Coast, and this is the West. We're starting with the AFC West tonight. So I guess let's just kind of get into it. You normally start, we do like 4-4, 3-3-2, and you kind of work our way up from there. Mm-hmm. Since you are the AFC fan, please kick us off with your 4th place team in the AFC West. I'm sure you've got the Chiefs. So
no, I know I picked some crazy so far in some other divisions, especially if you're a Detroit Lion fan, you're going to hate me. But anyways, starting at 4th place in the AFC West, I have the Raiders ultimately here at the bottom. Now, they will be an improved team from last year's 4 wins. One, Pete Carroll's your head coach. That automatically, I fear, culture change. That just automatically gets you better. They bring in Geno Smith from Seattle as well, who had a good year when Pete was coaching him in Seattle a couple years ago. They were able to make the playoffs. I think Geno is an improvement from where they were with quarterbacks the last couple years. Now, Geno's not going to go out and throw 40 touchdowns or anything, but he's also not going to throw away the ball or ruin or possibly lose the game on his own at the end of the night. So yeah, I think they feel better overall. The defense is kind of the same. You still have Max Crosby, who's really good. I know they got rid of Wilkinson after that situation, so there's a little bit of difference on the defensive line.
I don't even really understand why they got rid of him, bro. Is it the butt slapping or is it the injury?
A kiss on the forehead. There was an injury
kiss on the forehead.
He didn't want to rehab or have another surgery the way. I don't know.
So it was both, I guess. I don't know.
Yeah, there's a lot of things going on. So they got a grievance filed, so that's between them now. But yeah, I just think overall, I think Pete Carroll alone just is a culture change, and they can easily win 7 or 8 games this year. I just think with this division as good as it is, and especially what we saw from last year at the end with the Broncos making that push, I just think the Raiders ultimately are going to end up at the bottom.
You know, now that you said that, I don't remember exactly who it was. Maybe I'll try to look at it here. But the Broncos, that push was kind of, that is not why I have in last place, but that push, I think some of the teams that they beat were like backup quarterbacks and stuff like that. Win's a win, right? It's still the NFL. Yeah, true. Either way. Okay. So I'm actually locked in step with you right here. And it's actually, to your point, not really a shade at the Raiders. They're going to be a step up, but this division is tough. Literally 3 teams from this division made the playoffs last year. And I honestly kind of see that panning out pretty much exactly the same again, because I don't really see how any of them have deproved, not improved, I guess you can say. But to your point, the Raiders are going to be better than 4-13. But gosh, they've got some insane competition. So I do think Pete Carroll is a huge, huge pickup. Although he's a little bit old, he is, like you mentioned, a culture setter. Geno's a big improvement from where they were before. And that's actually not really a knock on Aiden O'Connell. He was just kind of thrust into the starting role because everybody else was sucky. Sorry, Garoppolo. But like you mentioned too, defense middle of the pack. I think they're going to be better, but it's really hard to see like Ashton Genty, Geno Smith, and Pete Carroll making like that big of a difference. You know, that's kind of a watch out though. I do think that the Raiders are looking to improve significantly over the next few years, especially if they got the GOAT in the building helping run things with Tom Brady. Tom Brady looks pretty cool in all black, man. He looks pretty cool with that Raiders shield on his shoulder. So.
I honestly totally forgot he was involved in the team still, or now, I mean, like at the practice, as you mentioned. So, and you know, you mentioned Genty. I forgot about him. I think he's going to be good. I'm a little worried about how in the NFL, at least, there's if you go back and look at guys who've had like 2,000 yards, the next year they have like 11 or 1,200. I'm just worried with Genty having run all those yards in college the last few years. It
was college, but
I know, but is he going to have enough to get through an entire NFL season? Because as good as he is, the NFL is a different game of men.
100%.
So
yeah, very true. So yeah, I think we both got him in fourth, and that's really actually no disrespect, like it is normally for like the Browns, no offense, or something like that. It's just yeah, true for this year. I don't think they're coming last. I think it's the Colts because they've decided to name Daniel Jones as the starter. But
I might have to go back and change my pick in the AFC South from fourth to third now based on that.
It's too late. It's in stone. It's on YouTube.
Already on YouTube. I can't do anything about
it. But yeah, so that's basically where we're at. We both got the Raiders in last, but a very improved Raiders team at that.
Absolutely.
All right, so moving up then on to third. Who you got in third?
Yeah, I have the Chargers. I think, Harbaugh's there. They're going to be fine. Herbert's good. I think Keenan Williams coming back helps Herbert just to have a familiar guy.
Keenan Allen.
Or Keenan Allen, I'm sorry. To have a familiar guy to throw to again, and he didn't do much in Chicago, so I think he'll be more comfortable back here. I don't know. The Chargers were good last year and got second. I just think they're going to take a slight step back. They went from 12 wins to maybe 11. It's nothing crazy. Right. I just, for some reason, think they're going to take a little step back. But as to your point earlier, I think all three teams from third place up are going to make the playoffs in the AFC West. So regardless if they finish third or second, close with who I have at second, I still think they're going to ultimately make the playoffs as a wild card team.
Okay.
Now, the biggest question is, can Herbert stay healthy the whole year? And if they get in, can they win a playoff game? But we'll get there when we get there.
Yeah, true. Can he not throw the ball to the other team more times than he threw it the entire season in one game kind of thing? Yeah. All right. Well, I'm going to disagree with you here. And it's just so hard to pick in this division because these top three teams are very, very close. They were separated. Well, 2 and 3 were separated by one game last year, 10-7 and 11-6. So, but I'm going with Denver. I've got the Broncos coming in third in a tight race. I actually really want to believe in this team, honestly, but it's just such a tough division. They're going to be fighting with the Chargers and Chiefs for the division title, but I say they fall like a couple games short. The Chiefs were 15-2 last year, so honestly could have been 16-1. They just didn't play the last week. So
as well.
Bo Nix is in his second season with Sean Payton. That should be an improvement, but there's always that like kind of idea of a sophomore slump. I don't think he's going to slump, but maybe take a slight like a CJ Stroud, right? They made the playoffs. They still won the division, but it just he wasn't as good as he was year one. Maybe there's a lot more film on him now, and they kind of game plan for him better. So I don't think it's going to be a huge drop off. They didn't really add any weapons for him, though. They did draft. I don't remember who the freaking running back that they drafted did, but there's a lot of talk about the running back. But that's not necessarily a weapon for Bo Nix.
Yeah.
Granted, you can catch out of the backfield and you can hand it to him, but I'm talking about like receivers. And that's not to say anything wrong with Cortland Sutton. I actually have him on my fantasy team, or Marvin Mims or anybody. That's not a knock on him. They didn't really change much up to try to improve it more than they did last year. The defense will be good, but last year's defense was top 7 in every statistical category, basically. Run, pass, turnovers, total offense, points allowed. They were pretty much everything. Now, they did add some, I think they had a Dre Greenlaw and a couple other key pieces on defense. But I just don't know. I'm literally splitting hairs here with these teams. It's super hard. So they were going to be dangerous and likely, like I said, likely a playoff team. But I think they fall just shy. Dude, maybe they even tie, right? Maybe they even tie with my second place team, and they lose. They just, I don't know. They have one weird conference tiebreaker or something. Exactly. So that's kind of where I'm at. Broncos in third.
Okay. Again, like you said, there's a lot of questions because of the sophomore slump possibility there. So I totally
even if it's like
just a slight digression, doesn't have to be a complete drop, but just
because I think he's good.
Yeah, I completely agree.
All right then. So now we're on to the last two. We both have we don't both have the same teams left. We got a little bit different teams left. So who do you have then coming in second place?
All right, so this is where I get crazy.
Okay.
Come at me like normal. I have the Chiefs in second. 15-2 last year, as you said, they could have gone 16-1 if they had played the last game. I just think after all the wear and tear of 3 straight Super Bowl appearances, 2 of them winning, they've been to 5 in the last 7 or 8 years. Kelsey's older and slower, and I just think this is the one year they take a slight step back. They'll still be good. They'll still make the playoffs as a wild card. I just don't think they're going to win this. I think you said their 10th straight division title. I just don't see them getting there this year. I think for some reason they're just going to be a little bit again, still could be 10, 11 wins, maybe even 12. I just don't think they're going to get over the hump and win the division again. I don't know if I really have any other it's more feelings for me than it is numbers. The roster, tough. It's the same team coming back, and like I said,
not a little better
Super Bowls. So there's not a whole lot of drop off. I just think it's the wear and tear and all the games they've played and all the time they've spent just in front of the media. They're on that I think it's Netflix or ESPN special, all the behind the camera stuff, the quarterback thing for Pat Mahomes, Taylor Swift, and it's just there's so much Kansas City. I just feel like this is the year they finally take a small step back and end up not winning the division.
Okay.
I may be crazy. I may be crazy.
Yeah, no, I mean it is what it is. That's what. But the only caveat I'll say to that is that's what, and not you per se, but that's what a lot of people have been saying for a while, and it's 9 straight. So
Yeah.
again, it's feeling, and we're talking about splitting hairs here. You probably have them losing by a game, honestly.
Yeah,
So.
exactly. I have it coming down to the wire. I don't have them, getting lost by 3 or 4 games. I think 15 wins last year was a lot, and they don't normally win 15 every, consistently. It's usually 12 to 13 to 14, but I just think they're going to take a small step back and go to 12 wins or so and just not win that division.
All right. Okay. Well, I guess we'll see. We'll see.
I'm assuming you don't have them in second based on my reaction. So
Chiefs Kingdom for sure. Let's go. I unfortunately have I know it's wrong. The San Diego Superchargers.
Hell yeah.
I know they're not in San Diego, but
that's what it should be, though. Damn it.
It's honestly, no offense. I actually really wanted to pick the Chargers to win this division, but really the Rashawn Slater injury kind of puts a damper on it for me. I mean, I understand that linemen aren't everything, but in the same sense, everything is won in the trenches, right? And he's arguably their best protection, not only for Herbert, but also for the run game. Granted, that's only one side of the ball. They can run the other way. But the point is that he's basically their best offensive lineman, and he's done for the season before the season even started. So that's kind of exactly the only reason why I have them taking a step back, is because I don't really know what the protection is going to be like for Herbert's blind side. That's the blind side. That's the one where, you got to be the most protected. So, they're great. They have a great run team. They're well coached. Amario Hampton, he's their new running back. I think he's going to do well. Him and Najee Harris are going to, I think, run the crap out of the ball. That's basically what Harbaugh loves to do. So I think he should have a breakout season. But the left side of the field, I just feel like is a tad weaker. So the defense is great, as they all honestly have been. They were great last year. Harbaugh's amazing, but I think they lose this division, like I said, bro, by a game. These are all going to be like one game apart, or maybe even tied in tiebreakers. So I really wanted them to. In fact, in mid-July, when I was in Arizona, I went to a casino over there, and I picked division winners. I have the Chargers winning the division. That's how much I thought they were going to win the division. But that was literally before the Rashawn Slater injury. And I understand it's not the biggest piece, but one missed block could hurt Herbert for 4 games or something. You know what I mean? I'm not wishing that, but I'm just saying anything is possible.
The blind side is, the most important protection point, as you mentioned, for quarterbacks.
They even made a movie out of it.
Exactly. So it's something to think about, and it sucks too, because I think Slater signed that extension, and not even a week later he tore the Achilles at practice. So
yeah. So it's a little bit rough.
But unfortunately, like you said, hopefully the Chargers are able to kind of move on. You've had time before the season to try to hopefully figure out a solution. Not maybe the best solution, but
it's hard to replace a Pro Bowler.
Yeah, but do what you got to do. Next man up mentality.
Yep, 100%. And I know the guy that's next as a professional athlete is just a Pro Bowl athlete is hard to replace. That's all.
Absolutely.
So, okay, well then obviously we differ for who we've got first, because we've run out of options. I already know who you got first, but tell me why.
Yeah, I'm going Broncos. Again, I'm crazy. This is my opposite of Detroit pick. I have the Broncos. I just think last year they had such a nice build at the end. I think Nick's was on pace of the last 8 games. If you look at the pace for the whole season, he would have had 45 touchdowns. So I think another offseason, or a real offseason with Sean Payton and learning the schemes more and getting better. Now, I'm not arguing your sophomore slump or like CJ Stroud, just a slight, digression, but I still think they're going to be good enough overall. And as you mentioned, the defense is great. I think Peyton and him if they can get to a point where they're just like, they see the game the same way, kind of like him and Breeze did, then I think the offense is kind of unstoppable, or can be unstoppable. And then if that's the case, and the defense is as good as it was last year's, if not slightly less middle of the pack instead of top 10, Broncos are going to be in every game and have a chance to win. And going 2 Mile High, as I was just in Denver, my dad and I were doing a hike one day, and we were like, man, what? Yeah, we're in Colorado. It's fucking Mile High. It's that shit sucks. So it's going to make an effect. It's going to take, going into Denver's not easy. So I don't know. I just feel Bo Nix and them are on a rise, and this is their chance. And you mentioned Jaden Daniels too. I think the biggest difference for me with Nix, as I'm not expecting as much of a drop as a sophomore slump, is his head coach is an offensive guy. It's Sean Payton, not a defensive head coach as in the other 2 situations. Not that that's a huge factor, but I just think going into it and having a something to build off of last year, continuity continuing, and him being young and able to grow with Payton, I think the Broncos could be good for the next 5 to 10 years, really, in this division.
Okay. I have got 2 little caveats to that. The first one I'll say is, you're a huge coordinator guy. That's why you have the Lions taking a giant step back. And they do have oh my gosh, the Cardinals at Cliff Kingsbury as their offensive coordinator. So I wouldn't necessarily say a genius. He's not necessarily on the McVay level, but he is from the McVay tree, right? So I do think that they have a pretty good offensive coordinator. So that is the only thing that I'll say about Jaden Daniels. The other thing though is I did look at the Broncos, who they played. They played the backup Chiefs in Week 18. They had games against Gardner Minshew. They had games against Anthony Richardson. They had games against Tyler Schuff or Deshaun Watson. No, they didn't play Deshaun Watson last year. Why are you telling me this? Either way, what I'm saying is towards the end of the season, they had a little bit of an easier schedule. Now, granted, it's still good to build the momentum. They went to the playoffs. I don't think they did very well in their game, but
no, they got murdered.
Yeah. But to your point, that is building.
I remember, I think they had a run in the first half and then fell apart in the second half. I remember.
Okay. Maybe it's the opposite.
At halftime, we were like, "Oh, Broncos!" And then
that's right. I think it was like a 1-score game. I think you're right.
Yeah.
Okay. So, anyways, so that's moving on. So I do actually believe in them. That's what I'm saying. I think they're going to be a playoff team. I just don't know if they can usurp the kingdom, and that's where I'm at with first place. The Chiefs just keep winning, bro.
Yeah.
And I think they kind of have a sour taste in their mouth from last year after because they didn't just lose the Super Bowl.
Yeah, they got their ass kicked.
They got their asses kicked.
Like, it wasn't even over close. Midway
about halftime.
Quarters?
Not even halftime. I totally agree.
Yeah,
I didn't even watch the half. I was just like, all right, you guys want to do something? You guys want to go somewhere? Because this is kind of boring. They weren't even showing enough fight to try to come back. Like it wasn't like, you know what, they're kind of still in it. They're making drives. It's just they were doing absolutely nothing. So
they couldn't stop the Eagles on defense either. The Eagles just ran up and down the field. And once it got to a 3-score game, you're like, like you said, I didn't feel the magic or the comeback in the Chiefs that day.
So I'm thinking they take some of that. Andy Reid's able to kind of get the troops back together, leaves a little bit of a sour taste in the mouth, and I think they kind of try to rebound from that. Kelsey even admitted, I think I heard over the summer, that he spent a lot of last year, obviously because of this Taylor Swift crap, working on his like entertainer career, and instead of football. So I think he gets better. He's not going to be anywhere near the old Travis Kelce, the one that was like super dominant, but I think he improves from last year. So they have
could this be his last ride?
True. So maybe he goes all out, right? I mean, dude, if they can win the Super Bowl, I say he retires. I'm not saying they're going to win, but I'm saying.
But I'm just saying, if you're Kelsey, do you go to Pat and like, look, bro, I got one more good year in me. If we can do it this year, I'm in. And then after that, I'm going to have to call it a day. So like,
me and Taylor are going to be touring. You know what I mean?
Like, let's go out there. Let's do this one last time together. And then I'm going to have to hang it up if we get it all done. Like that.
I think it's possible.
Yeah, it's got to be possible. I mean, he's gotten beat up so much. Again, so many games last few years. It adds up at some point.
Yeah, I agree. And it's not like they had a break because they went to the Super Bowl. So it's like it's still the same idea. You know what I mean?
The years they didn't make the Super Bowl, they made the AFC title game. So
correct. Okay, and I'll get to that right now. So they do have a better wide receiver core. Xavier Worthy's coming back for his second year. I think that's going to be an improvement. He'll have a lot more, I'm not saying he's Tyreek Hill, but he can bring that element because of the speed and the size. Rashee Rice is back, depending on this weird suspension thing that's kind of looming. And the last time the Chiefs didn't win the Super Bowl, to your point, is when they lost in the title game to Joe Burrow. Mahomes came out and threw for almost 5,300 yards and over 40 touchdowns, won league MVP that very next season. So he kind of might be a little mad that it didn't go the exact way he wanted, and maybe he played the game the way Andy Reid wanted. Now he's like, bro, let me just go sling it. I understand you don't want me to be crazy, and we want to rely on the defense, and we'll play all these close games, blah, blah, blah. Let me go, because I need to go and do this again. So that's kind of what I'm saying. I don't know if he's going to win MVP, but I think he has a little bit of a bounce back year. So, because we know what happened in February of that next year. I think he wants to kind of get back to his little bit of old ways. I do think the defense is still a top 10, easy, especially with, I can't remember his name right now, but the defensive coordinator. Please help me. Spagnuolo, thank you. Chris Jones is back. They re-signed pretty much everybody. They gave paydays to Karlaftis and the others like that. So to me, it's just one of those things that is kind of hard to bet against the team. Like I stated before, they're going for their 10th straight, which would put them just one shy, because 11 straight for the Patriots from 2009 to 2019. So they're the last team that kind of had a dynasty like this, and Brady won 6 there. So I'm not saying that Mahomes is going to win 6. I'm just saying I can't count them out until they've really lost. And until they at least lose the division.
Yeah.
I mean, 9 straight's tough, bro.
You say like he can't win 6. I mean, he's halfway there already. So it's not
true. I'm not saying he can't.
I would say another 3 doesn't seem that impossible.
Not at all. Not at all. So that's kind of where we're at. I mean, honestly, I could see the division going either of these ways. Unfortunately, I do agree that the Raiders are going to be last, but I think it's a toss-up between the other three. So
this could be like the AFC North last year, where every team's above 500. Even like that.
True.
I think the Raiders could win, go from 4 wins to 8. Maybe they sneak out a 9th one at the end when they play someone on the last week when they're playing nobody for no reason, and the Raiders are able to sneak out 9-8 but not make the playoffs. That's totally plausible.
Yeah, I agree. So, but let us know in the comments down below if you think Mahomes and co go for their 10th straight.
Or hit us up on Twitter, Instagram, and TikTok at RVUFTB and tell me why you see what I see in the Broncos. Are you on my page, or am I crazy again like in the NFC North picks?
A tad, not too crazy. Not as crazy, but a little bit. But appreciate everybody for stopping by. Thank you again for seeing things from RV from the bench. I'm Brendan.
I'm Corey. Like we always say, enjoy the sports until we talk again.
Peace.
This was a Sycamore Fourth Studios production.